What's up? What's up? It's your boy Cam Meekins. This is the Cam Meekins Show, episode 21. I'm in here with my boy Sammy Monsour, Chef Sammy Monsour. What's going on, bro?
What's up, brother?
So, chef, author, hip hop enthusiast, all around fucking. You're just a cool dude, man. And I think you probably I had McConan on last week, and he had a pretty good setup going on. But I gotta say that your whole vibe, I'm fucking with this whole entire vibe because your fit actually matches the background. So it's really making me feel like I need to step my shit up with this bookcase in the background.
No, man. I mean, I just didn't want to show you my dirty laundry hanging in the background. Well, it's actually clean laundry. It's drying.
There you go.
I'm in the guest bedroom. We're turning it into an office. But I gotta tell you this though. I almost broke out my fucking Rick and Morty Halloween costume from like 3 years ago because I found this Zoom background of like the garage from Rick and Morty.
Yeah.
And I was just going to pop up and surprise your ass.
Honestly, that's fucking amazing. All right. So round two, when we do the next one, you gotta rock that.
Yeah. Cause the wig is priceless, you know?
Yeah. You wore that as a Halloween costume?
Yeah. Me and my girl were Rick and Morty. I'm usually the submissive character when we do duos. So I was, of course, Morty, and I was her little bitch all day. But Halloween is her birthday, so you know what I'm saying. I gotta play my part.
I hear that. So what's been going on, man? How's everything going, man? I know that this is a weird time for people in the restaurant biz. So I'm curious kind of how things have changed over the last, like, I guess almost couple years now, but you know, certainly in the last year.
So last February 2020 on Fat Tuesday, we celebrated our 5th anniversary at Pruin Proper, and actually our 3rd anniversary at South City Fried Chicken. And then 2 weeks later, we closed for COVID, and which at that point was like a temporary shutting down. Eventually, we couldn't hang on. We couldn't break deals with our landlords. They wouldn't offer rent abatement. You know, we were looking at in total $25,000 a month worth of rent that we couldn't get abatement on. And then come July, we just had to stop the bleeding and say, hey, we're closed for good. So that was like a bummer. But like, honestly, I've stayed really close with my team, front of house and back of house, anybody from like busboys and servers to like my captains. We've gotten together a couple of times safely, and, you know, everybody's healthy and everyone's just trying to figure out, you know, on my team and even in my network of chefs, everyone's just trying to figure out what this new norm is going to look like for the dining space. I've heard a lot of really good insights onto it, but I'm not convinced that it's been figured out yet. And I'm not ready to jump right back into the game and put a couple of M's down on trying to build something up to, you know, watch it crumble again. I guess, especially after it's like, you know, this was the restaurants that I had opened up that connected us originally back in Boston. They just celebrated their 10 years and they were able to endure it. And we were talking about getting together and doing something to kind of revive the food program because they were able to survive COVID. But, you know, these were more like casual barroom eats. The challenge with the fine dining sector is like, I can't sell you a $64 entree in a fucking to-go box and have it delivered to your doorstep an hour later, you know? Yeah. So there's been this major struggle to put out this higher level of dining and service and food within the wake of COVID. And I'm not necessarily like excited about opening up some ghost kitchen with like mediocre takeout bullshit where fucking Postmates is going to scalp 30% off the top. Like, to me, I've seen a lot of people kind of crowding toward that pivot. I'm not excited about that. That's not what I got into food for, you know? So I'm just trying to see what the fuck's going on and maybe even start farming.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. So,
sorry, that was kind of a rant. I had to stop it because I want to know, like, what's this year been looking like for you? I've seen a lot of projects coming out on a pretty consistent basis. You had a lot of time to hit the booth, and
yeah. I think everybody's had to fucking readjust, right? But I feel like, you know, the restaurant shit is just so particularly hit because of the way that they, you know, kind of arbitrarily made these guidelines and what's okay and what isn't and how to be safe and how not to be and all this shit. And, you know, it's just kind of like, it kind of sucks because it's like they're saying we're just going to stop this whole, you know, sector of the economy in its tracks, but also not provide any real support. And it sounds like everybody's kind of on their own in terms of like some restaurants can survive it depending on whether or not they can negotiate shit with their landlords or whatever. And if they happen to have enough cash at the time, and others can't. And it's like, you know, I mean, you had two of the best spots in LA, and you know, it just doesn't make sense to me that there's just not that support from a government standpoint, especially in a state where we're paying so much tax to the state government, you know? And so
yeah, absolutely. It does get to, you know, you get into your like microclimate of how you are personally conducting business and what your relationships look like and who your partners are. You know, are people willing to take a continued risk? I mean, I think that a big foul with the government and on a federal and on a state level with trying to save restaurants was that there was no, from what I saw, they didn't go to the end of the line in terms of my landlord doesn't have any incentive to give me rent abatement. So why the fuck would he? Right? You can give me PPP money, but once again, my landlord was willing to maybe cut my rent at Prue from $20,000 down to $12,000 a month. Okay. But you're talking about an operation that's bringing in $250,000 in revenues on a monthly basis. And then they're in line paying about 8% of that toward rent. So if you go down to 12,000, and those are barely healthy numbers, by the way, those percentages, it should really be more like 6%. So if you go down to 12,000, but then you tell me that I can only bring in my revenue stream from takeouts, and then maybe when I'm allowed to open up my patio, which my patio had a 20-person communal table, one table. So I might be lucky to get two people on each end and two people in the middle. So I got 6 fucking covers at a time plus takeout, which we've already determined that our food and the reputation that we built for 5 years is not off the back of doing takeout. Right? That's not what we're known for in our community. Even my bar food, it was like, dude, I might sell like 70 sandwiches a night on a busy Friday, which was like a speck of our revenues, right? But they were still like $15, $16, $17 sandwiches. People were paying that kind of money because it's sourced. Everything is done from scratch in-house. And that's still like a low price point when you're sitting at the bar of a high-end restaurant and you get the high-end service and the high-end atmosphere and experience. You get the world-class cocktails, et cetera, and the flavors are explosive. So you're like, hey, this is a good deal. I can get a sandwich for $16 instead of a fucking beef rib entree for $80, right? So it's all relative. I take that sandwich and sell it for $16 on Postmates. It's going to be dog shit. People are going to be pissed, right? Because they're going to go, this was fucking $16. It's cold and fucking blah, blah. You know, so like,
it's sitting in the fucking styrofoam, getting all humid. Yeah,
fucking sweaty. And then plus, I fucking hate this to-go thing because we were doing all this work on limiting and cutting back on our disposable purchase habits, especially in California, with trying to eliminate the need for these single-use plastics, right? The straw became the poster child to eliminate your dependency on single-use plastics, but it's all single-use plastic. So then COVID hits, and I'm seeing all these restaurants all over the city and the state. And what are they doing? They're trying to make their shit fucking cute. And they're giving you like 19 plastic ramekins for all the little sauces on the side to get you excited to order. And all that shit's ending up in our fucking oceans and on our coastlines, turning into microplastics, like completely ruining, you know, the pH and the acidities of the oceans. So major backstep as well. And I don't blame the businesses that did that. because ultimately, you know what, the customer, they're not going to spend more money on their takeout order so that you can spend 10 times more on getting biodegradable plant starch based disposables, because that's really what it cost. A plastic ramekin cost a fraction of a penny. A biodegradable plant based ramekin is going to cost you about 6 cents. Right. So when you look at these numbers on a scalable model, what you would have to do is charge the customer maybe like an extra $2 for their packaging. And so I don't want to like attack the customer, but I do know that the customer can be an asshole, and they would see that you were taxing an extra $2, and then they would see that your competitors weren't, and they would be like, well, fuck those guys.
It's definitely been an explosion of single-use plastics in the pandemic. That's so true. I mean, like I'll have to get takeout, and you get, 2 entrees, and you got like the main entree in a plastic thing, the other one 5 different little plastic cups of sauce, straws, whatever, and
then they give you the fucking they give you the bullshit package with the fork and the knife and that's in plastic, and it's like, right, you're fucking sending it to my house. I'm just gonna
I have a fork.
That
out. That's so true, man.
It's like, why are you going out of your way to put as much trash in my fucking bag as possible that's just gonna end up in landfill, which is then gonna end up in the ocean? And these are the conversations that I think should be, hopefully we can start to have now, because look, I get it. People's backs were against the wall and their pockets were full of lint. They had to do what they had to do to survive. So I'm not trying to attack any small businesses for the choices that they made, but now that we're waking up to hopefully define a new norm, what I really don't want to see is people patting themselves on the back that they created the new norm and that they were fucking smart because they were resilient. And then what the new norm looks like is a lot of soulless bullshit takeout food that's packed up in styrofoam and plastic because it worked for a fucking year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, fuck that new norm shit.
People acting like they're fucking smart because that's what they did. And there's no future in that, man.
No. Well, at the end of the day, what people like you do, you're curating an environment that's more than just the food. I mean, obviously the food is the cornerstone of it, but the reason that I want to go to your restaurant is to experience the whole dining environment from start to finish, to the environment when I walk in, to talking to you. You're going around the tables, talking to people. I'm meeting the chef. I'm having the food. I'm having the cocktail. I'm seeing what the bar people are doing. I'm feeling the environment of the other people around me. And, so this whole notion of the new norm, and listen, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm a germaphobe. I was, locked down for all of COVID. I'm very serious about all this shit, but now I've got my 2 vaccines. I'm kind of at the point where I'm from a mental health standpoint, it's at a certain point you have to just decide that you're going to take risks, and just, if you've gotten vaccinated, you've done all that you can, and you do have to live your life a little bit, right?
Yeah, and absolutely.
So when people keep talking about the new normal in the context of the restaurant industry, to me, that's just not feasible, because we need that outlet in our life. It's the same reason that people need art. People need restaurants and need to go out and experience that environment. And that's not picking it up and running and grabbing a plastic bag of it and running back to the crib and eating it. It's going and actually feeling that environment. And there's ways to do it in a safe way.
I think it's so what you were describing, what makes that dining experience special is that it is communal. You are around people that you don't know, and you're part of a collective experience. And it's one of the most intimate experiences that we can have, right? Eating food. I'm giving you something. You're trusting me to put it in your body. You're enjoying this, right? We're eating to live. We're living to eat. And we're around a bunch of strangers that we don't know that are there for this shared experience, whether we talk to them or not. And you're also seeing the amount of energy and care and just human effort that it takes to cook a dinner for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It takes a lot. So when we don't humanize our food, we don't humanize our food system. And, when that happens, what we have is like inhumane livestock conditions. We have unhealthy big agriculture practices, et cetera, because we're too distant from our food. The other thing is like the people that did survive that have a big voice aren't the mom and pop joints right now. It's a lot of big companies. It's a lot of CEOs, and they're talking about these pivots that they have to publicly talk about because they're publicly traded and they have fucking shareholders and they have stakeholders. Right. And these people are really coached at talking about business in a very like provocative way. And so, they're getting interviewed in all the trade magazines, and what they're doing and what they did to create a new norm is really being, I think, ultra exposed in not a great way, because you're seeing these chain restaurants that were able to pivot to survive, right? And now what they're going to do is they're going to influence major trends on what the industry is going to look like. And it's going to kind of be like you're either with it or you're not. So this privately owned, human enterprise, the small section of the industry that I'm from, it's going to be even harder to survive, because we're going to have more competition that's mimicking this corporate structure that's not even corporate. So it's like almost like I think that people are they're just a little too smart for their own good. I've seen it, dude. I've heard it from people that don't even own businesses that just have cooked in a restaurant, and they're like, make sure whatever you do next is COVID proof. And it's like, what the fuck does that even mean, dude? Yeah. Like, you've never even owned a fucking business and you're talking about make it COVID proof. Oh, make sure you've got outdoor seating. It's like, if we get another fucking global pandemic in the next 100 years, in my lifetime or yours, like, I'm not going to be worried that my business goes under again. I'm going to be worried that like the end of human beings on planet Earth is fucking near.
I mean, 1,000%, dude. Let me put you on some game real quick. I read this book called Epidemics from the Black Plague all the way to the AIDS epidemic, and basically went through the history of like every pandemic and every epidemic since we've been able to find records, right? And the whole entire point of this book is to just see the similarities of all these different 100-year pandemics that happen every 100 years or so, and the exact same things keep happening over and over and over again. And like the whole idea that a certain subset of the population is like anti-mask and like anti-social distancing and doesn't believe that it's actually a problem, and social unrest happens, and people are polarized and moving farther to the left and to the right, and all these things that we feel like are this super unique thing that's happening to us right now has happened in every pandemic ever, from the Spanish flu to the fucking bubonic plague to shit in like ancient Greece to like everything. Wow. And the other side of that is that at the end of all these pandemics, after 2 years, and it's always 2 to 3 years, always. It's never fucking anything more than that. But after that 2 to 3 years, right, people have de-risked themselves so much because they're trying to stay safe and they're going through so much loss and there's so much economic uncertainty, and so they're saving money, they're being less risky with their social stuff, their sexual stuff, with everything that they're doing. They're de-risking their life. And so they've been doing that for like 2-3 years. And so once that's over and you turn the corner and the pandemic is done and things get a little bit better, people don't just go back to normal. They actually go even farther down, to just being even more down to take risks socially, financially, everything. And so when someone says like you got to COVID proof your next spot or whatever, it's like, no, what you need to do is think about on the other side of this where we're going to be, right? And know that people want to go to concerts, people want to go to restaurants, people want to live their life and be social, and eating food in a social dynamic is like the most basic human thing that we've probably been doing for tens of thousands of years. And that's not going to go anywhere. And I think there's going to be even more of a demand for that once we're on the other side of this. I don't think we're there yet. I think like being vaccinated and going to outdoor dining, because this is like weird middle ground where some places are able to survive if they're super caked up. But, I hope that there is an entrepreneur out there that wants to open that spot, that still believes that like there's going to be that demand for shit like that, because I do think the demand will be there. I think to your point though, it's going to be tough because of the economic conditions where, the big players, the publicly traded companies have been able to withstand this. And so now they're changing the dynamic. And for these more independent people,
faster, more consistent, cheaper, less human interaction.
Right.
It's just good. It's just more robotic. And look, dude, like it's crazy. I mean, the food service industry at large employs like 8% of the workforce, I think. I could be wrong, but it's somewhere around there. I mean, because you've got everything from like cafeteria workers to people that like prepare the food for hospitals and airlines. People that are cooking at universities and stadiums. It's not just like Chipotle or McDonald's or TGI Fridays or your favorite privately owned restaurant. So like there's a lot of different avenues that you can go with, I'm preparing meals for a living. There's tons of private and public, but I think that for the biggest challenge is like especially in the state of California, because it's so expensive to do business, like our margins in the privately owned restaurant are really bad. Like the profitability is fucking terrible, and which makes it hard to get investors. It makes it hard to not work 7 days a week, 100 hours a week, etc. Because, obviously like you just start doing more jobs because you can't afford to pay more people. Right. But what I'm hoping that we can see is that since there has been this great celebration of the independent restaurant and the general public has been like, man, we really miss it, that when restaurants come back and new restaurants open, there'll be some sort of an understanding that it's like, hey, this particular type of dining is going to have to cost more than what you already thought it was worth, even if that was already expensive to begin with, because you've got to pay for labor in real estate, and people just don't understand how expensive that is. I think they can understand the real estate aspect of it, but when we get into the human economics of labor, we're not even just talking about my staff, talking about the people that picked the tomatoes, right? I mean, farm workers that need fair, equitable wages, that you want to support companies that operate with integrity, that are, it's one thing to just be a restaurant that says, hey, like we support the LGBT community, hey, we support, but in order to do that, it's not just about like saying that you're allowed to come and eat here. You have to conduct your business with other businesses that represent those communities, right? Like, which means that I have to do business with Black-owned businesses. Now, how do I do that as a restaurant? I can find Black-owned liquor companies, maybe spirits, Black-owned farms, right? And all across the board with that. Now, typically, when you start to look at these niche marketplaces, what you're doing is you're doing business with other high-end brands, with other privately owned companies that have an ethos about them. So they're going to cost more money to do business with, right? And so ultimately it's like the general public, they can't have their cake and eat it too and have it be fucking like $4 a slice. It's going to be expensive. Yeah. And hopefully with all these conversations that have been out there, people are willing to open up and understand that and go, oh, all right, that's what I'm paying for. I'll gladly pay for that.
Yeah, I hope when we can have these type of conversations like the one that you and I are having right now, that can play a small part in just getting people around to that idea a little bit, because I do think that for the most part, if people understood the context that you just laid out, they would pay a premium. And if they couldn't afford it, then they wouldn't go there. But, you know, at the end of the day, like, I think if someone's going to spend $200 on dinner, they could spend 300. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like I just think that if it's a luxury that you're doing, you know, and it means all these other things are much more equitable and fair, and you're supporting this private industry, you know, in a level that's actually doable, I think that, you know, the average fan of restaurants at that level would do it if they can afford it. So yeah, I mean,
look, it doesn't have to be, you know, I think one of the truest goals of the sustainability that I believe in is that it should be scalable, and that it should be affordable to most people.
Mm-hmm.
And when it's not affordable to all, if you can bake into your business charitable givebacks, right? Like, for example, very specifically, participating in a tasting event that benefits a local kitchen down the street, right? I mean, these are things that like are very easy for us to do as chefs and restaurateurs. Is like, you know, there's a ticketed event that's raising, you know, you show up for free, you do 1,000 small bites. It could be anything from LA Food and Wine to an event you've never heard of. A lot of these food events, you know, these walking food and wine events, they're taking the ticket sale money to donate to a charitable cause. So then and there, what you're doing is you're participating in an event where it is your clientele that it can afford the $250 ticket, but then you're also providing the meals and the good food through those funds. So there's a lot of ways that you can really look at this. It shouldn't be an exclusive movement, and this type of food shouldn't be exclusive. It also doesn't need to be crazy expensive. You know, when I say like a $17 sandwich or a $64 entree or whatever, it doesn't have to be that. You know, in Los Angeles, it kind of ends up that way because our rent is crazy. Our taxes are high. You know, and minimum wage for a company like mine was $15 an hour at minimum, which, like, you know, you can argue that's still not enough to live off of in LA, but when you look at states like where we met in Massachusetts, like all my friends that have restaurants in Boston have flat out told me if I was paying my servers $15 an hour, plus they were making their $200 or $300 an hour a night in tips, I would go out of business. I would not be able to afford those wages. Like a healthy wage margin is about 30% on a high end. We're running 50% wages at the restaurants in LA.
Wow.
Right? So it's not necessarily set up to be equitable or fair, because I would love to give my line cooks a raise to $18 an hour, but I can't afford to because all my servers and bussers and bartenders are making $15 an hour. And should they? I mean, yeah, they should if they weren't making $300 a night in fucking tips. But now they're making just as much as everybody that's working in my kitchen, and they're getting that cash infusion. It's not their fault. The whole model of the restaurant is kind of fucked up. And so that's another thing that you're seeing people tinkering with. Can we fix this as part of the new norm? What does that look like? Does it mean getting away with gratuities? Does it mean sharing gratuities throughout the entire establishment in a more equitable way? You know, and I don't know the answer to that. It's also going to look different in pretty much every city that you're operating in, every state you're operating in. Shit like that wouldn't fly in Louisiana. Minimum wage is like $1 something. You know, so if you try to tell a bartender that they're going to share their tips with the kitchen, they're not going to fucking want the job.
Yeah.
You know, So
where are these conversations happening right now? I guess, you know, from an LA standpoint, I guess let's take that as a kind of, you know, micro example of the overall problem on a nationwide level.
a lot of these conversations happen behind closed doors amongst owners, but there's a lot of concern and there's a lot of fear to have those conversations because you are in the public's eye. So like, do you want to be the person that goes out there and says, I don't want to pay half of my team $15 an hour?
Right.
That's it, like, because that's going to be the headline, right? And so it's important to acknowledge that $15 an hour really isn't that great. It's not that much fucking money. $600 a week minus taxes in this state, $450 a week if you're lucky, right? Dude, it's like I pay rent on a house that's fucking $3,000 a month. Like I can't survive off that. You know what I mean? And like I'm living in Highland Park. I'm not in fucking Beverly Hills.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I don't want to be out there to say like I want to pay my employees less. I don't know where, there was a group of restaurants that they all, and I'm not going to name them, but this group of restaurants was a really great collective of some of my favorite restaurants in the city. And what they did was they had a conversation that said, hey, let's all put a 3% surcharge on our menu. And what we'll do with that money, and we'll state it on our menu that we're using it to provide benefits to our team. We'll take that money and we'll be able to provide health care. So this is like an extra charge onto the bill. And if the customer doesn't like it, they can say, hey, I'm not paying that, and we'll gladly take it off, right? And they had the courage to do that because a group of them all said, I'll do it. So like we're kind of in this together, right? So no one's going to like kind of blacklist us and say, oh, can you believe they're doing this? Good idea. Well, they got this like fucking case, like a class action lawsuit against them for collusion because they basically like as
price
a group
fixing
of companies got together and said, let's all decide to tax the general public more money. So it completely backfired on them. And when you're reading about shit like this from behind the scenes as a restaurateur, you see that and you go, all right, well, that's not the solution. Like what is? Now I'm scared to even have these conversations with other business owners because like, I'm not trying to get like sued out of business for collusion.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I get you. That's kind of a wild fucking story though, because they were really just trying to do something good in that sense. And then
exactly. And I'll tell you, dude, people, I'm sure you had this conversation with your team. It's like at a certain level of success, people stop thinking of you as a person and they look at you as an entity that's got dollars to spare and that you've got to be paying insurance and that you're, and you get sued. It's like, it's not even like, have you been sued at a certain point? It's like, how many times have you been sued? Now, I've personally never been sued. But I've got a lot of friends that have been over some crazy shit, dude. I got a friend who got sued over a Craigslist ad because he fucked up and wrote looking for young cooks because he was looking for young cooks, and somebody that was like 55 years old sued him.
Like age discrimination or something.
Exactly.
Jesus Christ.
But I mean, dude, this guy was like 26 when he wrote the fucking job description.
Yeah, right.
Like he fucked up.
Yeah,
but he also had to pay somebody a year's worth of wages.
Right.
Because they missed out on an opportunity to get a job, right?
That's crazy. Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true though, man. I mean, it's unfortunate that I think a little bit in this country we've kind of like got off track a little bit where instead of all of us collectively being able to, have the infrastructure in place with our education system and our communities and everything where we can all understand that like we can all eat together, we can all try and, strive to become successful in this world. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of different things in the way of that for different types of people. And if you happen to, depending on where you grew up, that path to success is 100 times more harder than if you grew up in a different neighborhood, or if you are black versus being white, or a woman or a man, or whatever the situation is, right? Everybody's path to success is extremely different, and some have way harder paths ahead of them. But it's just it's too bad. Yeah.
I mean, that's a great point. And, I think just to put some positivity out there, because we've had so many difficult conversations on a national level over the past year, there's been a lot of clash, there's been a lot of disagreement, but there's also been a great platform for people to speak their mind in an intelligent, in-depth way, because everybody had more time to kind of pay attention and listen, right?
Mm.
And so I think that you're going to see that really start to have some large positive impacts across the board, hopefully for our entire culture, but definitely in food, because I never really had a lot of pushback about the sustainability stuff that I was doing. People were always pretty open and positive to it. But now it's a part of the daily conversation that we're having, because everybody stayed at home for a year and was just reading the news and getting woke in a different way, right? Waking up to like all of the fucked up things about how we've been operating and how we've been living our lives, and saying like, I want to do better. I want to contribute to a better day-to-day life for me, my family, my neighborhood, my community. And if America doesn't get their shit together, I will happily be an expat, right? Like, how many people have you talked to that said, if Trump gets reelected again, dude, I'm fucking moving.
Facts.
Fuck this country, right?
Yeah.
So we're taking our country back, and we're prepared to have these in-depth conversations where you've got to actually listen for an hour. You've got to read some articles to figure out what the fuck I'm talking about when it comes to a healthier food system. But the great thing is that you now have that interest. So we're really going to start to bake some smart, multi-level, shit into the way that I think that we're growing, producing, harvesting, cooking, and serving food moving forward. And I know a lot of people in the community that are really hopeful about what's next for us.
Yeah, I like that optimistic view, because I think a lot of times people see the fact that we're communicating in this way online as like we're kind of collectively getting dumber, and I think in a lot of ways like we are probably, but there has been a little bit of a turn with just the accessibility of these long form conversations now, right? And I'm hopeful that that can play a part in kind of collectively just bringing us all up a little bit and getting us all on a level where we start to kind of just understand these things a little bit more in depth beyond just a headline, beyond the 140 characters. And, when it comes to the issue of like sustainability in the food world, right? Like that's a complex issue with not really clear
so
solutions.
Confusing.
Yeah. So I'm curious, man, like what and by the way, before I ask this question, are you getting a good signal for me? It was breaking up a little bit for a second there, but
yeah, I am. It said I got a little fucking slow internet, and then
staticky,
and then it went away. So I don't know. It was probably on my end. I don't know, man.
Okay.
But I'm good now. Are you good?
Yeah, I'm good now. So I just wanted to double check before we went into it. But
cool.
But yeah, I'm kind of curious, dude. Like, what got you thinking about the sustainability of food? Is that something you've always been mindful of when you got into the restaurant world, or did you kind of discover that as you were on your path?
So the way that I got into sustainability, now, what I think is interesting is that, no, this wasn't always with me, and I'm not very old, but I'm 38, which means that I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. And I don't really think that the conversations about sustainable food were being had on such a consistent national level as they are now. I know they were being had, but it was also before the internet, and it was before smartphones, et cetera. So the people that were having it were people that already knew about it, and they were having it together in person. So this wasn't something that I was exposed to until college. And then I didn't necessarily gravitate toward it until I opened up my first restaurant. I got to build it out. opening executive chef, writing a menu, and it was a really exciting time in my life. I was 26, pretty fucking young. And then after about a year, dude, I was like really getting burnt and crispy because I had just been in the trenches, working 9 a.m. to 2 a.m. Just trying to make this thing stick, right? And I just kind of had this like moment where I was like, cool, like you're there. Like your lifelong goal and dream has been to like be the executive chef and like own your own place and get to do whatever you want with the food. And like you're there and you're only 26 and it's really fucking hard. And like, what's going to compel me to do this for another 40 years? And then as I was having these thoughts, I got invited by the Chefs Collaborative to participate in a Save Bristol Bay from Pebble Mining campaign, where basically all we were doing was taking Bristol Bay wild caught sockeye salmon, sourcing it from, family fishermen fleets from the region while it was in season, and putting it on conversation to say, hey, did you know, and this was when George W. was in office, and it was like, did you know that the entire Bristol Bay watershed is currently in great danger because of the potential for pebble mining? And the government, who was Republican majority at the time, was like ready to just go, yeah, dude, like just fucking habitat of the world's greatest, most abundant source of wild salmon. Because of trying to mine for. And so we were basically, these are one of those like hippy dippy conversations where like they weren't really making the news. So we were this collective of chefs all around the country putting this on our menu to raise awareness for it, and working with these fishermen to say like, hey, what we need to do is get enough voices together to tell the government that there at least needs to be an EPA assessment done on this, which will slow down everything. Because then at that point, the way that process works is like if the EPA gets sanctioned to have an assessment done, then they can't make a decision until at least the results are in, and that's like several year process, right? So then so we got that. We actually made that impact. And then by the time the EPA yielded their results, Obama was in office and he saw the results, and they were obviously like pointing toward like, you're going to destroy this wild habitat to pebble mine. So of course he was like, fuck no, we're not doing that, right? So that was like my aha moment for sustainability, connecting me with the supplier, the producers of the food, in the environment in which the food came from, and being able to track it all the way from like wild caught in Alaska, getting to know these fishermen and their families, getting to understand how this region of the world works, their economy dependent on this, but also that it's these fish are so abundant that they should be caught to help with population regulation, and it's healthy, it's delicious, like everything about it is right. And then I get to put it on my menu and make something extremely delicious and tell you what you're supporting and what we're fighting for, and that had a real impact on change from a human point of view, from helping out family businesses, but also on like policy within our government. That I was, for the first time in my life, aside from just checking boxes on a voter's ballot, actively participating in our democracy. And so I went down the rabbit hole fucking hard, and it's been amazing.
So how does the sustainability movement actually have a large impact on the overall kind of way that we consume food nationwide going forward? What are some solutions there that actually move the needle? I mean, obviously, I think there's the individual restaurant, right? And all of us having awareness, so then we can make better choices and just be more mindful of it. But that puts a lot of the, power on the individual, right, to make those choices. But from a larger standpoint, what major changes can we make that that actually works, because it's kind of
Right.
it's almost like an oxymoron, like this, to have, sustainability, but then to also have like, mass scale is hard to have both, right? Like
Right. Well,
how do you?
I think that the true goal for the global sustainability movement is scalability. And so you have to, so for starters, if you look at the UN's SDGs, right, their global goals, there's 17 sustainable development goals that if we were able to achieve by the year 2030, we would have solved every problem that the world currently faces. Anything from like equitable, fair employment to what's going on underneath the ocean, et cetera. And so to really wrap your head around sustainability, I like to use like a simile where it's like, if you think about God as a single figure, right? It's kind of like this all-knowing, all-powerful being. It's so vague that it's kind of hard to wrap your head around what God is, right? But when you look at these ancient religions that don't have one God, in fact, they have a God for everything, it's a little bit easier to wrap your head around how that could have worked, how that could have made sense, whether it's like ancient Greek gods or it's Hindu gods. But it's like, there's the God of fucking like money. There's the God of lightning, right? There's a God for everything. So with sustainability, it's, if you look at it as this omnipresent thing, you're really probably just using it as a buzzword at this point. Sustainability has a meaning, but in order to like really dig into it, you've got to look at what you're trying to accomplish. So that if you were to just look at the 17 SDGs, it'll give you like almost like a periodic table view, a chart of what we should be doing to make the world a better place, and that we can achieve these things on a scalable level. To give you a very specific example of like what we can do to achieve sustainability on a mass scale, right? Because I do think that your individual purchases really do count a lot. But I also understand that nobody, through their own self actions, is set up to be 100% sustainable, right? Like you would have to do away with all single use plastics, go to the grocery store with your own little mesh bags for your vegetables, not buy anything packaged in plastic. I mean, the list goes on. Like we're not living in a world that's set up for that. So what we need to do is target the greatest impact. And where that lies is then once again with sustainable solutions that are scalable, that are science-based, that are harnessing the world's latest technology. And a lot of times, in order to pull something off like that, there typically has to be policy involved. So I want to give you one specific example. There's a law that governs our coastal fisheries management in this country. It's called the Magnuson-Stevens Act. It's been around since the 80s. This has been the single piece of legislation that has governed the United States regulation on fishing on all of our coasts, okay? And what's important about that to know is that it is the finest piece of legislation on science-based fishery management in the entire world. We've got a lot of not great policies when it comes to the environment, but countries from around the world look at all of the clauses, all of the bylines within the Magnuson-Stevens Act to see how we've created government regulation for healthy fishing, okay? Right? But it's a fucking law. So there's always bills being thrown out on the floor to adjust it, right? I mean, you get into the way our democracy works, you're going to have constituents that are going to tell their senator or their congressman, like, hey, we really want to keep supporting you, but you need to loosen up the MSA so that we can catch more fish. Because if we can catch more fish, we can make more money and it's better for the economy. And that could be from a commercial point of view or from a sport fishing. Like when you go down to the Gulf Coast, there's a lot of sport fishing communities that are thriving off of seasonal business. And when they've got like, if they want to expand those seasons and they also want to expand the catch limit, then those sports charter boats can take more people out for longer and catch more fish, right? So like there's
that's
always
good for the economy.
Money, right? Exactly. So there's always money behind pushing things forward. And so one of the things that I was able to do with a group of chefs and policymakers was go to Washington, D.C., and I met with 5 different congressmen of our state, including Jared Huffman, who is like the fucking, I don't even know the technical term for it. He basically leads the committee, the Senate committee on like fishing and wildlife. So he's like the guy to talk to about this. And we met with Senator Feinstein and we were like, yo, like these motherfuckers out here are trying to like catch more fish. And we're saying like, as a group of chefs that support our local fishermen that like, no, like don't weaken the MSA, keep it science-based, keep the fishery management strong. Don't let people start to overcatch fish. We've got really healthy stocks. Don't make it legal to use harmful catch, digging up marine life all across the ocean floors. I mean, there's a lot of countries around the world that don't have these regulations. So they're overfishing global population and they're disrupting marine life. So this is like one of these things where it's like, I'm not talking about going and buying a product specifically for you to go to support. We're on a national level trying to preserve policy to guarantee that if it's American wild caught, that we can feel good about what that means. Because wild caught doesn't necessarily mean good if you could overcatch the wild fish that you're wild catching, right? Or that you could catch it with negative catch methods, or that you could catch it year round instead of like when it's most abundant in season, right?
Yeah. Well, and the fishing nets too, that's another big problem too, right? From a waste standpoint, right?
When you deal with the bycatch, a lot of times it's when they're dragging the nets, there's so much bycatch, they don't even care about it. Like if they're bottom trawling for halibut and 50% of what they dig up into their hull isn't halibut, a lot of times these are bigger operations and they'll let these fish die or they'll just scrap them. Like they don't get like put back.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you have like, you're taking this resource out of the ocean and it's not even getting used. So yeah, I mean, just fishing in general is look, we know what we should be doing. And there's a lot of countries and there's a lot of fishermen and aquaculture farmers that are doing it the right way. So it's just about knowing what you should be supporting, but also taking it straight to the government and saying, don't let this shit happen in our waters. You're the government. You shouldn't let it fucking happen. Yeah. Right?
So where do you think we go 20, 30, 40 years out? Like, do you think we are consuming less red meat on a yearly basis? Do you think we're eating Impossible Burgers? Do you think that science is going to start to play a major role in, the scalability of some of this sustainable stuff that you're talking about?
Yeah. So ultimately, I don't know the answer to that, but
yeah, it's a complex question.
What you have to look, what you have to look at when it comes to smart food system solutions is resource management. I'm not against Beyond or Impossible, but I'm not convinced that that's the right use of resources. From what I understand, it takes a lot to create that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's a lot of energy
it takes a lot of water to grow the crops that they're using. And it takes a lot of process and resources and power, electricity and water to ultimately create this non-terrestrial meat.
Yeah.
When
Yeah.
if you just wanted to eat a fucking vegetable for dinner, you could just eat a fucking vegetable for dinner.
Yeah.
And like we could get into sustainable agriculture, right? And what we can do to support that. A lot of these things, though, aren't singular. They're multi-layered solutions where the sustainable agriculture is sustainable because of the plot of land that it's on and that the type of topsoil that's being used to fertilize is actually allowing for carbon sequestration. So it's like it's extracting nitrogen and carbon from the atmosphere, and then there isn't a high amount of nitrogen in the soil, so then there isn't nitrogen runoff into the local water supply, but rather a better runoff into the local water supply. And then maybe what you're doing is integrating like shellfish farms off that coastline, maybe in a bay area, and those shellfish are then even going another step and filtering that water. So you're like, what we need to do is look at negative impact, at the very least, a neutral impact on not just our environment in terms of the carbon emissions, but on the energy that it's taking. But there's so much great science and understanding out there right now that's going to allow for our food system to be created in a negative sense, meaning that it takes, because you have to look at food as a resource and as an energy unit, right? That the food has a calorie and that the calorie is an energy unit for humans and for our livestock, right? And even then it could be considered an energy unit if it doesn't get used to go back into some sort of a fertilizer. So if we look at everything from the standpoint of an energy unit, we can create negative energy food, meaning that the amount of energy that we're yielding from this operation is greater than the amount of energy that we put into it. And that's the only way that we get out of this hole. And that's the only way that we can scalably and sustainably produce enough food for this population, you know, that's exploding. Like it's going to be another like what, 2 or 3 billion by 2030, yep. Where it's basically like, if we're not producing food in a smart sense for 10 billion people to eat, we're fucked in a decade. And that's another reason why the UN came together in 2015 to create these sustainable development goals with the, you know, with a 2030 agenda. It's like, we've got to get our shit together, people, by 2030 so that we can sustain this 10 billion person population.
Yeah, it's fascinating, man. I mean, has there ever been a time in history where shit was coming to a head so much like it is now, from an environmental standpoint, food crisis standpoint? You know, these are really complex scalability issues that we need to figure out. The energy unit thing is just so fascinating, though. That
it's cool.
That concept. I mean, it makes total sense. You're right. It's an energy source, and there's a amount of energy that needs to go into producing that energy source too. And if you can kind of correctly work out the math on that standpoint,
exactly,
that
this is mathematics.
Yeah, that breaks it down in a very understandable way. It's really interesting, and it makes me think about normal energy systems too, right? Because obviously it was so affordable for so long to use fossil fuels, because it was relatively straightforward. And the idea of wind and solar and, you know, other kind of renewable energy resources was a great concept, but the cost was the limiting factor. And now we're getting to a point where the cost on some of those renewable energy sources isn't a limiting factor anymore. Sometimes it's actually cheaper than traditional energy sources. And so just from a supply and demand, economic kind of free market capitalist standpoint, renewable energy is now becoming a viable thing because economically it works. And so if economically food can turn the corner in that sense, and economically it makes more sense for us to be thinking of these things in a sustainable way, then I hope that big business, big players that unfortunately have way more power than they should in these situations will hopefully get behind that, because that's the only thing that drives action for those types of people. And we are seeing that that's starting to happen a little bit on the traditional energy side. And I'm hoping that maybe that'll happen on the food side. But to your point right now with Impossible and Beyond and all these fucking things, it's like that math isn't working out right now. The energy to make that isn't there.
It's like I'm not like against it.
Yeah, but like maybe they can get the cost down at some point.
I've talked to a lot of, my friends in the food industry aren't limited to chefs. I mean, I was just talking to my friend for an hour before we got on this, who's a marine biologist up at the university in Monterey, and like farms oysters, abalone, seaweed. He's one of the most brilliant scientists in the country and has the largest sustainable seaweed farm in the world. And this guy's like, I'm blessed with having these like people like this that aren't just farmers or fishermen or policy workers, but are like some of the best in the world. And I've been able to travel around the world and work with them and, contribute my craft, which is cooking, and, give my voice if they need that. One of the things you see a lot is that especially with policy and with NGOs is they want to grab onto the chef and use the voice of the chef, because we're working with the food. We're the last stop before the customer gets it, right? And so we have to decide what we want to buy and who we want to sell it to. So we're just kind of like in the right place at the right time, so to speak. And I've really, because I've been given opportunities, I've really tried to like take that shit seriously and say, look, if you've got a platform and you're giving these opportunities, have something that's worthwhile to say that could maybe open up somebody's mind. And look, I don't know it all. And I know that the people that I work with don't know it all, but like, there are global companies that are working on real solutions. I mean, the Japanese have developed jet fuel out of fermenting algae, which is like an extremely sustainable solution. People talk about fucking carbon emissions with beef all the time. Jets are the number one carbon emission factor in the world. You're not going to stop ordering your shit from fucking FedEx or UPS. You're not going to stop traveling. Like, you're contributing to fucking jet fuel being burnt up into the atmosphere. And so what we need to do is we need to look at what reality truly looks like and figure out, how we can have great impact, right? There's ways to farm raise beef that don't have the carbon emissions of a livestock feedlot upbringing where, they're feeding cattle spent grain from, there's this whole thing where it's like, I don't even know if you've heard about this, but there's a lot of breweries, and like, I'm not shaming on them because they're doing the best they can. There's a lot of breweries in this country that are like sustainable. And what they do is they take all their spent grain, because it still has nutrients in it, from making their beer, right? All their cooked grains, and they give it away for free. Cause like to farms that farm livestock, they raise livestock. And so that turns into livestock feed. That shit makes those fucking cattle gassy as hell. Cows aren't supposed to fucking eat all like fermented.
So it defeats the whole. It's not really sustainable.
Corn and soy. They're supposed to eat. Yeah, they're just trying to offload their fucking spent shit.
Right.
And give it, like, from an energy perspective, there's still energy units involved. So it's not necessarily something I wouldn't say shame on the brewer for doing it.
Right.
But like, when people pride themselves on shit and they pat themselves on the back for doing the right thing, see, this is without looking at the bigger picture, this is how we got into this fucking mess. There's a way to like integrate grass-fed beef on a certain plot of land and to migrate them into a grid structure to where it's better for the earth when you introduce herd animals back to it. The grass grows back more resilient and stronger when it gets stomped on, chewed up, and shit over. And then there's another microbiodynamic atmosphere of insect life, everything in that food scale, everything from a minuscule insect all the way up to these 2,000-pound animals. Like when you take the top of the food chain out of an environment, you decimate it. And so we've done that. And so we need to get our herding and our grazing animals back on pasture. And people go, there's not enough earth. There's more than you think there is. We've lost our grasslands because we've removed a lot of these migratory herding animals. We can regrow these grasslands back. The science is out. The tests have been done. This isn't new. This has been going on since the 70s. Does that mean that we might produce less red meat and that you might not have access to as much? Probably. But that's okay.
Yeah. Because
there shouldn't be 1 million hamburgers consumed on a daily fucking basis in any country. Yeah. Especially when like probably 990,000 of them are mediocre at best. You know what I mean? So it's a big cultural shift, but there's, the information's out there, the evidence is out there, the science is out there. And now what we're seeing more is this synergy between the different modalities of science that when they were being invented over the last few hundred years didn't necessarily happen at first, but now you're seeing an integration where biology meets physics, right? And that these modalities are working together. And, I can't remember, I'm not a scientist, so I can't remember how many modalities of science there are. Do you, off the top, is there like 4 or 5 of them?
Maybe. I don't know on that one. I could look it up for you, though.
There's biology, there's physics, there's fucking... Right.
I'm looking it up.
Yeah, we could sound really smart if we edit this right, so that it sounds like we just knew it.
Four. Well, I don't know. This is giving me a bunch of crazy answers. I don't know what you're finding. I got to get the setup so that I can have a computer screen at the same time. But,
it's like I'm not using the right word, so it's like I'm no Neil deGrasse Tyson.
No, but I love this, dude, because
chemistry. Oh, there's chemistry.
Well, there's physics, biology, chemistry.
One. Physics, chemistry, earth science. Yeah, I don't know, man. But anyway, because they all start to get into these little things like botany and zoology, but it's for a long time, these different kind of like schools of science just operated independently. And now there's been a lot of synergies where these expert fields are coming together to tackle bigger solutions. And that's where we're getting, that's where we're really getting some major advancements. And a lot of it has to do, a lot of it stems around our food system, right? Because how do you have a sustainable planet Earth when there's people dying of hunger?
Well, it makes you realize how
in
fucking
one country.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just saying it makes you realize how we think that we're so technologically advanced when we're living in a day-to-day and we have all this technology around us, but in a lot of ways we are not either. And it kind of makes you realize how far we've come on the one hand, but not far we've come on the other hand either. And we're still using these very basic things in terms of our energy sources and the way that we have just, found the path of least resistance for all these solutions, like how we feed ourselves. And these paths, while they're the path of least resistance, are the path of, the worst fucking outcomes and byproducts, and it's horrible for your health and it's horrible for the environment, and we haven't even talked about the health aspect of any of this shit right now. But the fucking million burgers that are getting consumed, and I want to talk about the burgers thing because I want to talk about your book and the burgers and everything, but just the health aspect of how we're kind of fucking consuming all of this horrible food in a lot of ways too. It's a super complex fucking thing.
It really is. I mean, I think what's something that's interesting is like out of the 17 sustainable development goals, I think like 14 of them have some sort of a connection with our food system, which is
right.
like, once again, it's like the reason why we got to where we are as people was because of the discovery of agriculture, right? Like 10,000 years ago, our ancestors in the Fertile Crescent decided to start farming grains. And once we were able to do that and get good at that, we were then able to say, cool, well, like the entire village doesn't have to work on the farm. It doesn't take that many people. So then other trades came about, right? People got really good at making tools to farm with and then working with steel. So you started to get blacksmiths that also developed weapons to protect these communities. You had people that started to get really good at cooking, people that got really good at making clothing. And then like you just keep going and you keep going, but it all stemmed from our ability to secure our food. And when we did that, the world changed overnight, which is really remarkable. So I think that in the long run, we're going to figure this shit out. A lot of the stuff that hasn't been working well for us kind of started in the 70s from what I've seen. There was a big scare that we'd run out of food. This is when like newer science came in. This is when like the government started to make things like corn and wheat and soy a commodity, which now is integrated into the way our economy is stabilized. And then what they did to pad that was to subsidize it. So now you've got things like corn and soy, which are subsidized by the government so that we can continue to produce enough to maintain a status quo so that our economy, right, because this is like a commodity on the stock market, is stable. So like we're kind of like fucked into that, right? And so then like you get a company like Monsanto who comes in and is able to guarantee this yield through their technology. At that point, it was revolutionary. And of course, it's going to be backed by the government because it's stabilizing the economy. And it's like when we talk about genetically modified organisms, a lot of people don't even know why they're bad. It's a really simple reason. Like, it's not because I spliced a couple of different varieties of the same species together to create something new. And I mean, that happens all the time in nature. That's why there's like hundreds of different types of fucking tomatoes out there. The bees, through their cross-pollination, do that. It's what the GMO typically represents. That Monsanto, for example, is genetically modifying, let's call it corn, so that it's resilient to their herbicides and their pesticides, and that it will grow faster and bigger without the need for so much nutrient. So what they've done is like, not only can you not wash that shit off, like when your food is being sprayed with chemicals for its entire growth cycle, you can't just wash that off. That's grown into the fucking cells of the food. Now your ear of corn is a stick of chemical. But on top of that, what they've done is they have supported the depletion of nutrient from our topsoil to where our soil is now just dirt, because the same crop that would be, you could grow maybe 10 rows of corn per X amount of land, you can now grow like 30 rows of corn in half the amount of land, and that land doesn't even need to be nutrient rich. And so because that land is lacking any nutrient, like it's especially with the topsoil, the way that the topsoil naturally has worked on planet Earth is that it's nutrient rich in a way, I think nitrogen rich in a way that it absorbs carbon from the atmosphere. So like soil has a purpose. It has many purposes. And what we've done is in our farmland throughout the whole Midwest, we've depleted the nutrients in our soil. So they're not doing the jobs that they're supposed to be doing. They also don't need to have nutrients in them because the crops don't have nutrients. So this corn we're growing is a chemical stick. On top of that, it's got trace amounts of the nutrients that the corn Native American ancestors were living and thriving off of, right? Back when that corn, that low in sugar, it was great for the mind. This corn doesn't have that anymore. So like, but that's the mess we got into. We're all now kind of woke. We know that this shit happened, but there's a lot of fucking backpedaling that's got to be done. And you're in a situation where you're in a country that's not going to say, cool, let's like dig up all of this fucking, all of these plants. Let's enrich this topsoil and let's start growing less corn on it. So the government, so this is an example now of where the American government will fall short. Doesn't matter who's the president, doesn't matter what party is in place. There's no fucking world that exists where the American government, they're not going to pass any policy or legislation that's going to incentivize or help finance changing the way the Midwest plants these commodity crops.
Right.
Not going to happen. They're not going to give out grant money for you to be able to fertilize and enrich your topsoil for carbon sequestration and to grow a more nutrient-rich crop because it's going to cost too much money and it's going to provide less of a yield in the crops. And it's just going to crush that commodity. You know, it'll have a crazy impact on the stock market from what I understand. And then and then when you have these conversations, you even start to sound like a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, right. It's just so crazy. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like, no, that's the system.
It seems incredibly counterintuitive that it's like, how can the backbone of our entire fucking economy be based on corn, right? And like, but it is. It really is in this country. It is. Look at every fucking product on the middle aisles of the grocery store. 70%, if not more, have some sort of a corn product in it. Right.
What eventually, what happened first, I think we've all seen it, was the corn syrup industry was birthed. Right. And what that did was that exploded our consumption of soft drinks in this country. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah.
So now it's like, dude, look, anywhere you go in LA, what do you see, dog? It doesn't matter if this kid's is being brought up rich or poor, if they're black, white, Latinx, you see kids posted up with the fucking bag of chips, probably Fritos, Takis, Cheetos, all made from corn, and their fucking soda that's made from corn. And that's what these kids are coming up on.
Yeah, and they got it at the gas station where the gas has corn in it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just wild, and this has become our culture, this instantly gratified, consumable culture. Everything's packaged in a disposable piece of plastic. Everything's 99 fucking cents, and everything lacks nutrient and realness. And, you're giving your fucking money away to these corporations that are American founded that have then gone and opened up plants in developing world countries where they pay the workers less than livable wages, which once again, you want to talk about being sustainable. The people that produce the food for you have to have a good life in order for your company to be sustainable. Coca-Cola is not a sustainable fucking company.
Yeah.
We know that. But they do a really good job of actually hiding everything they own.
Right. Yeah.
The Coca-Cola as a company, all right, owns a bottled mineral water company called Topo Chico. And Topo Chico has done this remarkable job of aligning itself with Latinx communities, especially throughout LA. Hey, we'll sponsor your fucking, we're in your neighborhood. We'll sponsor your events. We'll donate our products. This is owned by fucking Coca-Cola, the same company that pretty much enslaves labor in fucking Latinx countries, where like if they try to unionize, the fucking head of that, like the person in charge of that disappears. Like,
oh, they're getting murdered type
documented
shit. Yeah. No, there was a
executed.
Yeah, this is not a conspiracy theory. That was a real thing. Like
For
motherfuckers
workers'
pulled up.
rights.
Yeah, motherfuckers pulled up with guns, and there was a whole like, you know, gun battle over that shit, over the unionization of those plants down there. It's crazy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they're not a different company because of that. What they've done is they've just done a really good job of hiding their brands.
Right.
They'll make their brand portfolios handsome to their shareholders, right? If you're gonna buy into Coca-Cola, you're gonna look at their whole portfolio. You can see all their finances, but like, are you gonna do that if you're just getting a couple of free cases of Topo Chico donated to your event?
Yeah, right.
In your community, right? No, you're gonna be thankful for that, and then everybody in your community is gonna continue to support this fucking company, which is actually like an oxymoron, because you're now like basically funding this company to keep the country that your ancestors probably left for these conditions, right? That your family left that country because of these poor working conditions. And you're now in this country and you're just you're stuck in the fucking cycle.
Yeah.
And it's not your fault as the consumer, because we're constantly being fed bullshit information that doesn't matter, so that we don't have the time to come up for air and like actually read about the stuff that we're fucking supporting on a daily basis with every little purchase that we make, with every little click that we make.
And it's a privilege too to be able to pay the extra dollar for the shit that's not corrupt in that sense, you know? And that's what sucks about the way that this whole dynamic is with, you know, I mean, it's fucking expensive to go.
Yeah. Well, I'll say it's a privilege, but Topo Chico ain't cheap, dog. They sell that shit at Whole Foods.
All right. Yeah. Fair enough. Yeah.
And I also know that there's a lot of people that have, you know, there's a few traits amongst all human beings that I believe are true. And one of them is integrity. And I'm convinced that anybody, if they found out that what they were using, what they were buying actually had a negative effect on something that mattered to them, they would find a different, they would go, oh shit, I shouldn't buy that. And then they would obviously have to start to conduct their research and be like, well, what should I buy? Is there something I should buy? And they, you know, you might come to the realization that there maybe isn't anything out there like that you can support. And so you're faced with a few options. One is, so I'm just not going to drink sparkling water anymore because I couldn't find a company that I felt good in supporting.
Right.
Or I'm only going to drink it if it's this company, or this company, because they're actually doing good stuff. But since it's twice as much, I know how to manage my wallet. I'll drink it half as often. And that's really the way, these are the conversations that we need to have. With how we spend our money, that it's like, does every time you drink water, does it have to come out of your refrigeration in modern society and be sparkling? No. LA tap water is some of the most potable fucking tap water in the country. Drink fucking tap water most of the time and enjoy your sparkling water when you do, but know who you're supporting when you spend that money, right? And I don't care how much money you make a year. That's a conversation that I think any human being is interested in having and wants to have.
Right. Well, that's what I was going to ask you, because I think that, you know, I think a lot of the conversation has been in the realm of the scalability and the wide changes that we can make on a global level to start to deal with this stuff. And that's typically the conversation that I like to have. And it's funny because I was talking to my boy Mega Yacht, who I got to connect you to because you guys have a lot of similarities. He's a cool dude, and he's over in your neighborhood too. But
right on.
Yeah, so I was talking to him earlier today because I posted this fucking thing on my story today of this like plastic water bottle, and I was just like, I like made a joke about it, and he basically started, you know, shitting on me for having the plastic water bottle, and oh shit, hold on a sec. Getting a crazy.
Is that you?
Yeah, my camera's freaking out. Hold on one sec. the world doesn't want us to have these conversations, dude. I've never had a technical issue on my podcast ever, but now it's like, this whole fucking episode, it's just been fucking just one thing after the other.
Unplug my Alexa shit, dog.
Yeah, right. Like fucking Jeff Bezos, like, what the fuck you say about Whole Foods? But no. So anyway, so I posted this shit on my story, and it was like this plastic bottle, and then my boy Jacob messaged me, and he was like, dude, like, shady with the plastic bottle, and I was like, fuck, man, like, you right, but like, I basically, and I've had this conversation with him before. It's like, I've always looked at this stuff from the framework of the real change is going to happen from a policy standpoint, from a big government, big business standpoint, these like massive changes that we can make that can make a big difference quickly. And the individual, to me, has some control over it, but I think the individual's power is in teaming up and trying to push policy in a direction, right? But
right. So let me just say this. There's a lot of different kinds of polys, a lot of different kinds of plastics out there. Most water bottles, in that water bottle that you posted, that is recyclable. If you're recycling, ultimately, if everybody took responsibility for their waste management, their personal waste management, right? I have 3 recycling bins, 3 96-gallon recycling bins behind my house in one 96-gallon black bin. Now, I'll fill up all 3 of those in a week, and there'll be one trash bag in my black bin that's going to go to landfill. I mean, I also compost, so a lot of my foodstuffs go into the compost bin, and not everybody can do that. I understand. But all I'm saying is that there's a place and a need for single-use plastics in this type of global economy that we have. And if you're buying plastics that you intend on recycling, then you're managing your footprint, okay?
Sure.
And you're in a state where you can recycle for free. In fact, you have to pay for that black bin at your residency in Los Angeles County, but they'll give you as many blue bins as you want for free. Our county does not charge us to recycle. They want you to do the right thing. So you can't vilify every single choice you make,
right?
And every single choice other people make, because when and at times it can sound like that's what I'm doing, but like I always try to go back and say, look, at the end of the day, all we can do is try to do our best and make informed decisions. Nobody's going to be perfect. Sometimes you're going to want a bag of fucking like chili cheese Fritos. Mm-hmm. And like, you're not the single person that's making the world bad because you wanted those, but it's just about being conscious. Like, I don't want to shame people, but it's like, there's other options out there that we can open up our minds to. And it's up to you to decide if you can get woke on the food system, what you want to say yes to, what you want to say no to, and what you want to like allow yourself to indulge in. I mean, dude, I'll go to Taco Bell once a year and order like $40 worth of
fucking
Taco Bell.
Big. Yeah.
I fucking love it.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to ask you. And it's like,
once a year.
Yeah, right. And like, he and I, we were mostly joking because we have a lot of these conversations, and it's really interesting to us to kind of like debate this stuff on a policy standpoint and the individual choices standpoint and everything like that. But now talking to you too, I'm curious, and I feel like people listening to this podcast are probably curious because they're seeing you as this guy who, embodies this sustainability movement to an extent, especially in this conversation. And so I'm curious, kind of like, what does that mean to you on a day-to-day? Obviously, you're being conscious about it. You're making these choices. You have the recycle system going on. What other choices are you making on a day-to-day, and what are you thinking about in this context?
So I think that first and foremost, I'm going to kind of answer this question in a way where it's like, maybe I could just give you some good general advice for anybody that's listening. That's like, hey, what can I do? That's like accessible, that isn't going to be too painful for me, too costly for me to try to start to slowly implement into my day-to-day life. And then you can start to go down the rabbit hole and take it as far as you want, right? So the first thing that we can do is we can assess our output, right? We can look at our waste and we can do a better job of managing our waste and understanding that there's 3 places where our waste can go. It can go to landfill, it can go to recycling plants, and it can go to compost. And so if you can just take those strides, if you don't have the opportunity to compost, at least you know that that's an option, and maybe you'll be looking to learn more about it. How do I start my own compost? How do I live somewhere that allows me to compost? But like, even if you just start to separate your recyclables, you're doing so much for the environment, because a lot of people don't do it. It's not mandated. There's places where you'll get a fine if you don't do it, but that's not that common. And so if you just start to pay attention to the materials, I'm not saying just start dumping stuff in a bin. Start to pay attention to the materials. Start to look at your waste. See what you're buying, see how it's packaged, and then maybe say, hey, you know what? These motherfuckers overpack shit. Can I stop buying from them? No, I can't. All right, well, I'll recycle it. Yeah, you know what? I can stop buying from these guys. I don't like the way they overpackage. It takes up too much energy, too many resources, and I can do better than that, right? Or maybe it's just like, man, I thought I was doing good by saving all my plastic bags and recycling them, but if I just bought like 3 really good totes, right? So start with that, but then you've got to just kind of look at what you're consuming. I don't like to get rid of stuff. Think about the upcycle movement, right? If you're going to get rid of your clothes, donate it to charity, right? A lot of people understand that, but it's like, take one step further, buy clothes that you're never going to want to get rid of, and buy shit that's so nice that if you were going to donate it to charity, and I'm not saying you got to spend a lot of money, but like, you've got dope style, like just pay attention to what you're personally responsible for accumulating mass. Everything that we do in society has to do with dollars, right? How much money we make so that we can spend so much money. And you start to collect this shit that's consumable, whether it's for a lifetime. Should we pause?
No, you can keep going. It's all good.
Okay. So whether your consumables is for a lifetime or it's just what you're eating, just start to pay attention to what you're supporting with your dollars, where you can, when the spirit moves you. And I think that you'll really enjoy going down that rabbit hole, and it's a new journey. With food, I always tell people, start with eggs, because the difference between buying a pasture-raised egg, right? You can get like an 18-pack of legitimately pasture-raised eggs for like $5.99. You get an 18-pack of dog shit, like cooped up eggs that are like coming from unhealthy hens for $1.99, right? You probably have an extra $4 a week to buy the better eggs. And what you're doing is you're supporting the living conditions of these organic animals, how they live, how they're fed, how they're treated, how long they get to enjoy their existence on planet Earth, who are then in turn producing eggs for you that are higher when they're pasture raised, higher in the omegas, EPA and DHA. They have that more flavor, that richer yolk. It truly is brain food. And so for $4 more a week, you can start to promote and support biodynamic farming, pasture-raised livestock. And so it's a very approachable, attainable, and affordable change for you to make like that. And then once you do that, you might start looking at the chicken that you buy, right? The chicken meat that you buy, and you might start to look into how that's being farmed. So you've just got to really kind of like start at some really manageable things, and then on an individual basis, determine what's important to you and what you want to support and what you can afford to support, right? Because you're not going to always be able to afford to support organic everything. Sorry, my cat really wants some attention.
I love it.
I think he wants to be let outside. I'm not doing it. I don't trust him.
Classic.
um, so I think that was like a really long roundabout answer, and I'm sorry because this is such a complicated thing. Like, and I'm not a politician, you know. There's people out there that can just be like, boom, 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 boom.
Yeah,
and
right.
Like,
Put it into talking points, but
factoids.
No, but this is real shit, dude. You know that this is a real perspective from someone who's clearly very passionate about it, and that's why I'm enjoying this conversation so much. And you know why it's you know that's why my fucking camera's overheating, because we're fucking getting into it. You know what I'm saying? But no, I mean, I completely get it. And I think, you know, the idea that a couple choices lead to a couple others, and then you go down the rabbit hole and you start to get into it and you start to learn and you start to understand how your choices can make a difference in your community and your individual household. You know, if we all can continue to have these conversations like you and I are having, make some of these choices, you know, we can start to just build a better community around us. And that's, you know, all we can strive to do at this point, right? You know,
and it's like, it's really important to just remember that we're all just people trying our best, and it's not always the big companies, man, and it's not always done intentionally. It's just I don't want to say that you can claim ignorance and get away with whatever, but like we've got to be able to have these real conversations. And we've got to be able to be honest and say, like, look, how can we do better? I'd love to give you a great example of what I've seen. There's so many of them. And it's like, look, here's a great example of not a big company and not people that want to do bad, but it's just a measurement of how broken our food system is. You know, I've got like a locally owned, I live in a Latinx community and I love it. And there's a locally owned grocery store down the street where I can go and I can buy avocados 3 for $1. And they're farmed and they're picked in Mexico.
Right.
And 33 fucking cents an avocado. It takes like 50 gallons of water to grow an avocado for starters, but that's a different story. But anyway, you know, during peak avocado season every year, what you see happen, and it's pretty well articulated in California on the West Coast, is that the farm workers in Mexico go on strike because it's hot as fuck. They're being overworked and they're not being paid shit. And it's because of these unrealistic demands across the border in our marketplace for people to be able to go to the fucking grocery store and get avocados 3 for $1. What the fuck? It doesn't add up. Now, like, you can, and that's a small business, right? I mean, you can go to Whole Foods and spend $4 for one organic avocado. And organic doesn't necessarily mean that the farm worker was paid a good wage, but it probably insinuates that the operation cares, right?
Yeah. Well, because they have to go through a lot of hoops to get that organic certification and things like that.
Yeah. But where you get into, you know, the mind fuck of this, the oxymoron of this, so to speak, is it's like there's a lot of people that I personally know that their families left Mexico for a better opportunity in terms of to earn better wages. I don't think Mexico's a bad country. I mean, I understand that the government can be corrupt, but a big part of it is it's like, hey, dude, I just worked all day long back-breaking labor and I made like $5. What the fuck, dude? I go to the US, I can get paid in like currency that makes me feel valued.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not a rich man because of it, but at least like I'm getting paid, right? And even in this country, those workers are being taken advantage of. But the mind fuck is that you have a community of people who left a country because of, and for a whole host of different reasons, but in this example specifically, they left a country that was paying them a dog shit wage for their work, but now they're in a country that's putting them in a position to support that continuance, right? That now I go and I buy the fucking avocados 3 for $1.
Yeah.
And no one's having that conversation.
Yeah.
And, you know, to the point where it's like, hey, is this really what we want to support with our dollar? Maybe not. Maybe we don't have a fucking choice. Maybe that's the most we can afford. Dude, maybe I'm feeding a family of 7 off a minimum wage. I got my fucking rent. I got all my bills. I can only afford to feed my family 3 for $1 avocados. So now you're just stuck into the whole paradox of how fucking broken the food system really is, because it's not a line. There isn't like a supply chain. It's a web, and it's very confusing. And there's a lot of these things that are going on that we have to be able to have these conversations comfortably and out loud and publicly without somebody saying like, you know what I just said, we're like, I've got the balls to say it because I'm talking to my homie and I trust that it's going to be put out there for in a way that doesn't make me sound like a racist. I'm not saying that like the people in my community are bad, and I'm not saying that the country of Mexico is bad. In fact, I'm saying the exact opposite. Most of my workers at Prune and Proper were from Mexico, and I've looked into this because I've gotten to know them and their culture through them over the years. And I live in and I live in a community that is 92% made up of Latinx families. And I just think like, it's like, this is just one example of what's going on in America and how broken the food system is. That like these people are being put in a position to fucking like not support their relatives back in their home country to have a better wage. Right. And that's being done not by a big corporation, but by a family-owned fucking grocery store down the street. So you can't just villainize big companies either.
Right, it's the whole system. Yeah,
it's the entire fucking
the entire system. Yeah, no matter what level you're on, there's always some issue. And I think it's so true that we're just not having that conversation. And so if we can start to at least have that, maybe it is the case that on the individual level, like someone just has to buy that dollar avocado, and it just is what it is, and that's fine. But the more we have these conversations in reality, the more there are people out there that want to be informed. And once they do become informed, they'll make different choices. And that can maybe start to push us in a better direction here,
Yeah, it's not an all or nothing thing. It's not a black or white thing.
Yeah.
It is that if you just started to wake up to this and make some informed decisions throughout your day-to-day life, I'm confident that you're planting a seed that's going to grow. But in the meantime, look, dude, let's say we make like 50 choices a day. If just one of those was a better choice, and that was like across the board of a population that's getting close to 400 million, like those are that's a measurable impact towards positive change. And that's once again how we can create scalable change for the better.
This was an amazing convo, but
it really was, man.
Yeah.
And look, you're doing a really great job with your show, and like I love the no bullshit formula. I love that it's not like I ask everybody the same 5 questions.
Yeah, right. Like, what's up, dude? Like, how did you start the first restaurant, bro? And it's like, like, let's just talk, dude. Like, we'll get there if we get there, and if we don't, I'll bring you on again.
That should be getting out there, not saying this conversation, but all of the conversations that I've been watching you have. It's really cool, and it gives me. It definitely makes me inspired to go, dude, I gotta get some content out there. I gotta make sure that these conversations aren't just happening in my inner circle and in my head, and that it's out in the world for whoever wants to just swing by and check it out.
Right. Yeah, I think that's where we're at these days, man. It's like, there's just so much out there to consume that, I just want to be a part of the conversation, I guess, at the end of the day, and it's been a great new way to just kind of go in depth on things and have an opportunity to talk for an hour and a half with somebody, and connect with you in a way where like, we haven't had a way to do this, you know what I'm saying? And like, obviously we've been friends for a while, but when have we gotten an opportunity to really sit, no phones, get into some real shit and talk about how do you really feel? How do I really feel? Let's talk about some real stuff that's going on right now. And anybody who's listening can pick up some, thoughts from that might make them feel like they want to do something in their life, or they can listen to it while they're doing their fucking laundry, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It's just been a fun process, and
Absolutely.
I'm super stoked to have you a part of it, and I can't wait to bring you on in person once I set up the in-person studio, man.
Oh, let me tell you, I'm curious though, man. What are the odds of me ever getting to jump on one of those rap songs?
Dude, 100%. Because the podcast studio is right next to the rap studio. So we'll just bang it out, We'll have some whiskey.
I mean,
and we'll do it right.
Dude, I got to tell you, man, like when I smoke weed, I don't know how it happens, but like I can freestyle like a maniac to the point where like a couple of my friends who are like insane at freestyling, and one of them is like a really incredible musician, singer and rapper. Like I've murdered him in a freestyle battle to the point where like he'll still be like, no, you did. Don't get Sammy blunted, dude. I don't even know what goes on.
Right. All right. Well, say less, man. I'm gonna have an ounce ready for us. We'll do it right, dude. I'm down. I'm 100% down. Sammy Monsour, man, thanks for coming on the fucking show, dude. I appreciate it, man. We'll do it again, and I appreciate you helping me fucking open my eyes to some pretty deep shit, dude.
Dude, thank you so much for having me, man. Great to catch up, man. I can't wait to see you.
Yeah,
let's get together for a cookout.
Let's do it.
Vaccinated.
Yeah, let's do it, man. 100%.
For real.
I'll text you. We'll make it happen. But all right, man. This is the Cam Meekins Show. We out of here. Peace.
Peace.